Ryan and Ben, both of you guys talk about this, ALS and, how it affects and can affect anybody's family. And right now, Ben, you're here because obviously it's OK Classic. Your golf tournament is coming up for September 25th. Describe, once you find out about things like this, you guys are amazing trying to get charities and bring awareness to a lot of these things.
Absolutely. So we're here today to talk about ALS, obviously, in two golf tournaments that are coming up. I'm Ryan Matthews, representing the Susie Foundation, and obviously great to be back with you guys. This is the sixth or seventh time.
Friend of the show.
Yeah,
friend of the show.
Friend of the show, an aspiring podcaster. So I keep coming back,
nice.
just hoping you guys give me a podcast at some point. So as you guys know, when I jump into these things, I typically like to bring, you guys affectionately call me the segment god. You've told me this before, you've tweeted it.
Ryan's game shows.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So I have some trivia questions if you guys
We're totally
down.
game, and I've been preparing all week because I knew you were coming in. Yeah.
I love this. What's on the line is one hug from me.
Ooh,
okay, so I didn't.
Is that the winner or the loser?
Both. Yeah. So
Everybody wins.
3 rounds, mostly sports, called Numbers Never Lie. I didn't steal it. I made it up. It's very unique.
Okay.
All right. So Ben, first question for you. Your co-host, I didn't know if you know this, played Major League Baseball for a number of years. Mm-hmm. What was his career's K per 9? So K per 9 throughout his entire career.
Well, he was only brought in to close the door for most of them. K per 9. You'd have to think he'd got 1 every single inning on that. So you would want to say 9, but that seems really high. 5 is like awesome, right? So I'm gonna give it a 6.7.
Am I sowing the seeds of discontent?
6.7.
Wow, he's not even half close.
It's 12.2.
I got 12.7.
12.7. BaseballReference.com is wrong.
Right.
Wow.
I'll send him an email.
So is that like every ninth inning you get 2 strikeouts?
No, because my first 3 years, just 89 is the only one that really comes to mind. I don't know what 90 and 88 and 91 were, but I had 141 strikeouts in 99 innings. So that's what inflates that, per 9 innings strikeouts. But like you said, I'm only pitching 100 innings a year at that point. Right. But then by the end of my career, because when you become a closer, they cut it to like 60. So you're still, striking out 85 and 60 innings. It's going to keep it up there. But it at its high in 89, that was 14.1.
Dang!
Back then, nobody cared, though. Dang. They didn't have whip. They didn't have any of those statistics.
You weren't facing those Yankees of 2023.
No, you're just trying to do your job and stay in the big leagues.
Yeah. So
keep a job.
Fair is fair. I did try to find Indiana high school basketball statistics for Ben Darnell. I could not find them.
You're going to the wrong sites there.
I apologize.
You got John Harrell's Indiana basketball website. You probably see 2001.
I did try and Google.
How about targets per game?
Yeah.
In college.
Targets per game. All right. Well, give me what you think. What would you?
I'm going to say 10.
Yeah,
10 targets per game.
I don't know.
If you were like a West Coast offense,
we were somewhat of a West Coast offense, especially in 2001 to 2003, where you're not throwing the football as much as they do now. We tried to average 85 plays per game, and in our heyday of offense, 65 of those would be passes.
Wow!
Now you're running out 5 different receivers, and we got people coming from every cupboard of the kitchen to catch some balls.
So what was your target per game?
I think senior year I'm above 10. I think junior year I'm just below 10. And freshman and sophomore year, man, if I get 2 or 3 targets a game, I'm telling everyone about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know if you were right or wrong. I'm going to say you were right.
He was right.
All right, moving on.
Yeah,
okay, so 1-0 for Dibble. All right, so back to you, Ben.
2-0.
2-0. So back to you. The number of starts that Tom Brady made in Foxborough during his career.
Oh my gosh.
I bring this up. Obviously, Brady just got honored this past weekend, and the Pats, didn't necessarily honor his legacy with a win.
200. I'm going to say 227.
Interesting. Do you want to weigh in, Rob? Take a guess.
I'm going to say 180.
A lot closer. 167.
Wow.
Yep. He went 142 and 25 at home throughout his career, including Foxborough Stadium his first year.
Well, I went 8 times 20.
Yeah,
and that'd be 160.
There you go.
Yeah, won a lot of games in Foxborough.
Oh, I forgot. They were only home games. I was counting all games. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you were going all games.
As a guy who listens for a living, you didn't listen to the full question.
Or you might talk more than listen.
I know. Usually I set up the rules of the game.
Most of my conversations with Ben have been received. You've been staying. I've been targeted.
You've been targeted.
I get a high amount of targets when I'm talking to Ben.
Right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like, can I tell you about the time Lou Gehrig
it's 3-0.
played baseball in Hartford?
Yeah,
3-0. So staying regionally, the New York Football Giants, they need a little pick-me-up after Monday night's game. All right. So,
and I'm a Cowboys fan, by the way. So yeah.
Oh, so you were reveling in it.
Not reveling. I kind of like the Giants too, but I was like, geez, that wasn't much of a game.
I hope we took callers on Tuesday and we're like, cry me your tears on Tuesday. So they need a little pick me up. So all-time wins for the New York Giants started in 98 years ago. First game, I know Ben Darnell knows this, was against all New Britain, whatever that is, in the city of New Britain. That's where the Giants started.
Yeah.
Their first game. So how many wins since then?
Since they were in New Britain?
Well, since they started. So 98 years ago.
Since they started.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
I'll say 500.
You want to take a guess?
Gosh, I mean, you're talking almost 100 years of games. We didn't play when they were taking on the all New Britons. We're talking about records that could be like 5-0, or sometimes it could be 22-2.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like
it just depends on how many people showed up.
Yeah, exactly. How many people from the factory we could talk into coming down and playing?
Right.
Like
I'm going to go 571.
Oh, interesting. So both Ben Roberts. You want to take a guess? Oh, we're here.
600.
600. Oh, you were closest. 740 wins.
Wow.
Third most all time. I mean, the Packers and the Bears are ahead of them, but third most all time in NFL history.
Excellent.
715 in the regular season, 25 in the postseason, including the helmet catch, obviously. All right, last round. Okay,
I'll take that point.
I've forgotten who's winning, so we're all getting hugs.
3-1.
Ben, to you on this one, the number of individuals in the United States diagnosed with ALS.
Oh, man, I know I'm not going to like the number. I know that right there. The number of total people diagnosed of all time with ALS.
In a year in the United States. Little hint here. Every 90 minutes, someone in the United States gets diagnosed with ALS. Every 90 minutes.
Are we talking about 20,000?
5,000. That was we're not doing math here on the Rob Dibble Show today, but 5,000 people are diagnosed. 20,000 live with ALS at any one time. So about 15 folks today get diagnosed at somewhere in some location. Oh, it's incredibly high. They're expecting a 70% increase by 2050.
Why?
Why are they expecting such
No idea. People way smarter than me did those projections. I think it's like a rate of increase.
Let me ask you this:
do you think, or appropriate diagnosis also? That's a problem.
That's what I was going to ask. Are just people more aware of it when some people come in with problems that are in the initial phase of ALS? Not only doctors, but also family members or people that are diagnosed themselves.
100%. That's one of the biggest pushes in the ALS community is early diagnosis, because an early diagnosis not only gets you access to a lot of benefits, right, and get you on the right track, but also can introduce therapeutics. There's 7 currently on the market. It's a little bit of a trick to figure out which one, but obviously working with your doctor or neurologist early on in terms of onset of symptoms gives you the best, chance to find the right one and find that it's going to slow down symptoms. However, if we're unfamiliar with ALS, so it is also called Lou Gehrig's disease, a part of which, before Lou Gehrig got it, they did not have a name for the disease.
Right.
So it was when Lou Gehrig got it, it was like, this is a thing that we now need to track. So since, the 1920s, we've been, focusing on it. But before then, obviously ALS has been around for as long as humanity's been around. But, to your point, we're capturing that data a little bit better than we used to a couple generations ago. So ALS, as you guys know, it's progressive neurodegenerative disorder. So the last question in this numbers never lie segment, so Ben Roberts can finally get a word in
tied
edgewise.
Up right here.
What do you think is the cost of the disease per year? So end-stage ALS, total disability, out-of-pocket medical expenses related to care.
And we're talking one person?
One person.
One person, one family.
I would say hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
I think we're talking 6 figures, 100,000.
Easy. So it's
maybe
about $200,000 a year in out-of-pocket medical expenses. That includes things like loss of income, right? Because you're not able to work anymore. Okay. But also includes home renovations. Like if you at end-stage ALS, you are fully disabled and you're also fully reliant, typically on a ventilator to breathe. So you have communication devices, you have bathing devices, you have devices for sleeping, for eating, everything. And many of the drivers are captured in that statistic. So it's not just, right, like I'm paying a doctor for medical visits. It's everything encompassing with ALS. And that's why, for us, in the last 10 years, we've raised over $1 million to address this, to be sure that families have access to reimbursement, funds to help cover some of these expenses. And why Ben, for the last 6 years, Ben Roberts, not Darnell, has been hosting the It's Okay Classic coming up on September 25th at the Country Club of Farmington in honor of his mom, Kay, who passed away from ALS. And that's how Ben and I got to know each other.
Yeah.
So let me ask Ben, if the people, and I know you can still sign up for the tournament, which is September 25th, where is the tournament? And if you're not playing, can you still donate?
100%. So the tournament is at the Country Club of Farmington. It's the 4th year that we've held it at the Country Club of Farmington. They do an unbelievable job. The staff there is amazing. The course is gorgeous. Rain today probably didn't help a little, but it's a beautiful course. They do a great job. People can sign up at itsokayclassic.com. It's okay, O-K-A-Y classic.com. My mom's name was Kay, and part of the reason that I called it the It's Okay Classic is because not only is her name in it, but, every single step of ALS is kind of what we call the new normal, right? Like at some point, my mom lost her voice, and it became it was the new normal, right? We'll figure out a way to talk without using your voice, right? And so every time that happened, when we got to a new normal, the saying in the house was always, "It's okay. Like, we're good. Like, everything's okay. We're here for you. Everything's going to be fine." So that's kind of how the It's Okay Classic's name was born. Obviously, Kay being fitting in there is a perfect benefit to that. But people, we can still sign up. You can make donations. All funds go directly to the Susie Foundation. My mom had some benefits from the Susie Foundation. We had to do a gigantic home bathroom renovation that was extremely expensive so that she could, ride her wheelchair directly into the bathroom to be able to take a shower. We had a ramp built out in front of the house that wouldn't have been possible without the Susie Foundation help. So there was a lot of stuff that, you don't know about until you get into the community. And ALS is very much a community. Mm-hmm. And it takes companies and foundations like the Susie Foundation and relationships like Ryan and I have gained to be able to get the funds that are needed to be able to help these families out. I mean, it's very much a community.
Again, September 25th is the OK Classic. If you can't make it, I implore you to just Google the Susie Foundation, find out what they've been doing, because Ryan Matthews and your team, you guys lay out everything of what you've been up to, where the dollars are being spent, and how you can help in the future. And, man, I always like to say to you guys, Susie and Kay would be so proud of both of you guys and what you were doing. And the community word, I think, is so important too, Ben Roberts. And I don't think you knew what kind of community you were getting into until you were finally in it. But also what the Susie Foundation has taught me, as I talk to more people in families of ALS than actually people diagnosed with ALS. Yeah. And those families are going through something they don't know exactly what to do. Yeah. But how beneficial is that community to know a little bit of what's coming up next?
It's huge. And quite honestly, one of the big things about ALS is that nobody deals with it the same way. The way it attacks a human's body. My mom's attack started from the head down. A lot of times it's from the legs up. So just being able to be part of the community, be at these events where other people are dealing with it, educating people who have no idea about what it even is. I mean, obviously the Ice Bucket Challenge was a huge thing for ALS. But you talk about, before that, you would talk to so many people that would be like, what is that? And then you'd say it's Lou Gehrig's and be like, oh, Lou Gehrig's disease, got it. And even then, they don't really know what it does to the human body.
Or to a family.
Or to a family. Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, it's wild, the amount of support that, my community, my friends, my family, the people that I've gained throughout my life prior, how people stepped up. I mean, every year at the It's Okay Classic, there are 10 to 15 volunteers that are either my friends or my friends' wives or whoever it is that literally spend the entire day making sure everybody has a great time. And then everybody who shows up is typically somebody I've had some personal experience with. And then those people are able to tell the story about this tournament that you need to be involved in because of what it does for the ALS community.
Tell me about the strides, and I don't want to say government. The pharmaceutical companies are trying to do something to help this. 100% fatal?
100% fatal.
100% fatal after a number of years, whatever. It's different with everybody.
Yep.
You said something off the air, Ryan Matthews, that there are drugs that are becoming available, hard as hell to get through the government and the FDA, that could help some of these people. I'm 100% for helping these people.
Totally.
You know, if you know you're going to die, it's going to be 3 years or whatever, you deserve all the help you can get. How can we get on the government's ass to expedite some of these drugs and get them in the hands of these sick people?
So two big updates to set the stage a little bit. So there's two major pieces of legislation that passed through Washington in the last 5 years. One was right to try under the Trump administration, which allowed access to emerging pharmaceuticals for patients who are terminally ill or seriously ill to access. Because if you're terminally ill, you don't have a lot to lose. Like, why not give patients access? So that was a huge push.
And you don't need red tape while you're trying to save your own life.
Exactly. And also they're contributing to science, right? I mean, by trying these drugs and then like tracking, how their symptoms change, it is helpful for future generations of patients. And, those persons living with ALS, we do serve the entirety of New England. So we serve patients as far away as like northern Maine and as close by as, Manchester. All of those patients share a common goal of wanting to leave ALS a little bit better than they found it. Because like Ben said, and I couldn't have said it better myself, the disease completely takes over an entire family's life. Yeah. And you quickly understand like how devastating a diagnosis could be, not just on that individual, but on their kids, on their cousins, on the people who work with them, on entire communities of folks. And so through that disease progression, so many patients say, well, I know it's not going to help me, but I hope it helps someone. In addition, the Biden administration, $500 million, $100 million in the next 5 years. They passed that last year. There's an advocacy organization called I Am ALS, which I also encourage folks to check out. Did a really good job kind of pushing that legislation through. That's all going to go towards neurodegenerative research. So not only helping ALS, but also in Parkinson's and Huntington's and all these other horrible diseases that likely have a link, right? Because they're all sort of neurologically based. So really great stuff. But when you see elected officials, or someone in your life who's affected by ALS, encourage, reach out to those people and help them. And you can do so on September 25th at the It's Okay Classic. All of the proceeds raised that day. Ben's raised over close to $250,000 in the last 6 years, which is amazing, all in his mom's honor. All of the funds will go directly to Flex Grants, which will help patients afford out-of-pocket medical expenses. We send, give or take, between $6,000 to $10,000 a month directly to families. We also help to fund New England's only summer camp focused on young caregivers. So kids who have a parent or a loved one or a grandparent who's either been lost to or lost their lives to ALS or are currently living with the disease. And we all do this in our spare time. Ben's full-time job when he's not flipping houses is at Ryan Marketing in West Hartford. You guys know I work for Beala's Big Sisters. This is fully volunteer. So if you're looking for a golf tournament that's going to have an impact, but also run by two guys that have 3 kids between them and are crazy to spend their nights running golf tournaments to raise the money, come out to Farmington Country Club. Country Club Farmington, on September 25th. And itsokayclassic.com for more information.
I'll just say, too, I've been to this tournament. One of the prizes that I won, Ben's always super proud and asked me right when he got here, you still got that marker board calendar? Hell yes, I used it today. These dudes know how big of a stationary nerd I am. So that's so, dude, it's a part of my life every single day. But not only is the tournament a lot of fun, it's just some good old boys, man. That's what I always think when I go to the OK Classic, some good old boys. But don't let that fool you either. They are golfers.
Yeah, they
have this putting competition that has like 45-foot putts. There's going to be 5 people that drain that out of Ben's friends. But I just think it's a good group of people on top of a great organization that you're sponsoring.
Yeah, I'm a lucky guy. I mean, and that was part of the reason that I knew that I had to do something after my mom was diagnosed. I'm a lucky guy. I know that I've been blessed with a lot of people who care about me, and I know that they all kind of watched me and my family go through that process of my mom, degenerating over the years. And my mom very much was the house mom back in the day, right? Like every Sunday she would make meatballs and grinders for everybody to watch football at my, I had an apartment really young, so the guys would come over and, watch over at my place every Sunday morning after church. My mom would stop by and drop off food for us, so it's like, that's the type of stuff that, they all could see that process happen, and it wasn't. My group of guys is no more supportive than anybody else's, but it's kind of wild to see how much it came to fruition when I started the tournament. It was the year after my mom passed I started the tournament.
Ben, Ryan, God bless you both. And anything we do for you, we're here for you.
Love it. Thank you guys so much for having us back
Thank
on.
you
We
very
appreciate it.
much.
We'll see you next year.
Thank you.